Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Live from the south side of Flint. This is Quentin Barrett again. One half of the Pick and Roll podcast. Going to work. Anyway, one half of the Pick and Roll podcast. You can check us out. pickandrollpodcast.com. Search for us on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. And you can check out the show. We haven't been able to record a live podcast in quite some time because myself and my partner are busy guys. As you can see, I'm going to work at 1 in the morning. So our schedules are always flipping and bouncing. We're busy guys. But we still got content out there on the airwaves so that you guys can kind of walk with us, until we're able to sit back behind the microphones and drop the podcast again. This is a Thursday morning. And I want to talk a little bit about just a little something lighter than what I've been talking about the other day. It's been discussing this issue with Flint Water, and we were talking about the Democratic debate. And we were talking about T.I. silly behind the other day, and the BET Awards, 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. But it's Thursday, so it's officially the beginning of the football weekend. So we've got Michigan and Michigan State coming up this weekend. I happen to be a former Michigan student, so there's no questions about my allegiance there. But what I wanted to do was to talk about, there's been an ongoing discussion about Michigan fans versus Michigan State fans. And traditionally, it's Michigan fans have been the most irrational of the group, okay? We expect a national title every year. We expect to be towards the top of the rankings every year, and it's irrational because a lot of times, even when we don't have the talent or the coaching staff in order to justify a high ranking, we still think that we're supposed to, and if we're not, we feel like somebody's mistreating us. Michigan State, though, has that kind of underdog inferiority complex, whereas they feel like everybody's always picking on them. They don't get enough respect. And, that sad sack kind of, nobody really wants us to win, so we're going to do it anyway, man. Screw, and that's why they get the little brother stuff, because they're always whining and complaining when they really haven't done anything over decades to prove themselves to be a perennial power in Division I football. Now, Michigan State plays great football, don't get me wrong, and Michigan State has kicked Michigan's rear end around the block for drill for years now. Okay, so Saturday, I still believe going into Saturday, Michigan State will have the better team, and they do have the better. They have the better proven coach. I mean, Harbaugh, we know is a great coach on the pro level, and he proved himself at Stanford, but this is a little bit different animal here. With him being able to coach up Brady Hoke's players the way that he has, it shows that Harbaugh has not missed a beat. But here we go against the Michigan State Spartans. If Harbaugh can beat Michigan State Saturday, then all bets are off. And we recognize that Sparty is not as powerful, especially on the defensive side of the ball this year, but also on the offensive side of the ball, as they have been in previous years. I don't believe that teams fear the Michigan State Spartans any longer. They do not fear that defense any longer, and we definitely don't have anything to fear going in. The problem that we have is drinking our own Kool-Aid. Okay? We're getting ranked this, and the defense ranked that, and this. If we're reading our news clippings, if we're drinking our own Kool-Aid, we're going to go into Saturday and get our beak shot off, and it's not even going to be funny. And it's going to be embarrassing. Okay? We beat Michigan State. It's going to be a great win for the program, a great win for University of Michigan overall, putting us back onto the national stage. And the fact that game day is going to be there Saturday is telling you that the country and the news media, sports news media, is ready for Michigan to come back to the limelight. It's ready for Michigan to be a part of big-time college football Saturday, something that we have not been a part of in quite some time, and we haven't deserved to be. We haven't earned the right to be. And the ranking that we have, I believe we're a bit overrated now because we haven't really beaten, we'll beat ranked teams, but just about everybody knows that the field in college football this year is relatively weak, especially the quarterback class. That's where we're talking about, that's where it leads to this Connor Cook situation. Connor Cook might be one of the top 3, top 5 quarterbacks in the nation, but that's because the quarterback class is extremely weak. There doesn't seem to be a guy coming out of this quarterback class that gives you, okay, this guy is going to go and play on Sundays, and he's going to be able to be good right away. There's no Mariotas, and there's no Winstons, there's nothing even close to that, or an Andrew Luck, or some of these other guys. Nothing even close to like a Kirk Cousins, if you want to stick with Michigan State football. Connor Cook is not on that level. So it's going to be a good game. I have no idea where I'm watching the game. I don't know where you guys are watching the game. It's going to be a good game. I'm going to call the score. It's Thursday morning, so I'm going to grow a set and call the score. Michigan 27, Michigan State 20. And what this will be is both teams will try to figure out if they're going to be able to run the ball, so it'll keep the scores low early. So we'll start to see the scoring pick up probably midway through the third quarter, and then you'll see a few big plays. Michigan State will not have enough time to tie the game up to go into overtime. So 27-20 Michigan. Michigan takes its rightful place back atop of the Big Ten. They put Ohio State on notice. Ohio State, if they continue to start Cardale Jones, should win the Big Ten. Ohio State is just a different animal with a different grade of athletes. There's something different going on. This is not, you're not going in there to face a typical Big Ten team when you're talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes. Cardale Jones is a beast. He's enormous. Whether or not he's going to play quarterback on the next level, I don't care about that. I'm talking about where he is in college football right now. You go and see the talent level that they have at skill positions in Ohio State, and it's a whole different animal. Now, if Michigan can go out and keep control of Michigan State, then its defense can look at Ohio State and say, yeah, we can go get them too. That confidence will be warranted. But if Michigan goes out there and gets ran over, or can't defend the long ball, then there's no reason for them to be terribly confident going into the Ohio State game. All right, so that's college football. That's going to be basically the only college football game of note going on this weekend. I got to tell you, man, my love for college sports has gone down into the toilet over the years. I just don't care anymore. I hardly watch any college hoops anymore. College football, I just don't get excited for some of the other games anymore. I'm going to watch the playoff and who's going to contend for the national title. But these regular season games, and I don't even know why. I think it's because all of the bullcrap back and forth with the NCAA, or maybe you find out maybe I'll get angry because I know that these universities are taking advantage of these kids and not giving them what they're worth, and so it makes me not want to watch. But I feel bad for every single athlete that's playing collegiate athletics, especially when we're talking about the money games, football, basketball. I feel bad for those guys, especially guys that go out and get hurt their sophomore, junior year. They act like they don't want to keep you insured. Sometimes, you have some schools you're hearing that they're not ripping scholarships at least, but there's nothing for you, and it just lets me further know that the correct thing to do is to pay these players while they're there. you're reaping millions and millions. And this is a very basic, cliche Disney take. This is not, in depth in 2015. I think it's pretty much of a foregone. I mean, it's just I think everybody understands that there's something wrong there. And I haven't really been able to get into the college game as a result of it. We are going into the pro season, weekend tonight. I'm not sure who's on the list for tonight, but I asked the other day, how are your fantasy teams looking? I am 4-1 in both of my leagues. I lost Jamal Charles last weekend in both of my leagues, so I've been struggling the last couple of days to try to put together some collection of running backs to try to. I don't think I'll ever be able to equal the amount of production that I was getting from Jamal Charles, but I probably could at least, get close. With Jamal Charles, you're getting 20 to 25 points every week, and that's going to be difficult to find with some of these running backs that are left. I'm in are we 12 or 14 team league, and so when you're that deep, trying to find a running back at this point, you're either going to have to trade away one of your more valuable assets. Hey, I'm driving through Grand Blanc right now. You're going to have to either trade away one of your more valuable assets, or you're going to have to try to find that diamond in the rough that's maybe second or maybe even third on the depth chart of some team. Maybe somebody else is hurt, So right now, I was able to pick up Niall Davis, but another player in my league picked up Charcandrick West. So it's kind of like a game of chicken. We'll see who gets more production coming up Sunday. I'm not starting that guy. I've got David Johnson. David Johnson, who is the backup running back in Arizona, and he was able to get a couple of touchdowns last week. And I think they've got a good 1-2 punch in Arizona right now to where I can get some good production from that. And then I got Deion Lewis as my other running back, and as long as they continue to feed him, I should be good. So fantasy football is taking on another existence now with the introduction of FanDuel and Football Kings and all these other one-day fantasy football leagues. I think the whole thing's a racket, personally. I think it's a racket. And now you see these court cases and all of these articles coming out, kind of, I'm not going to say exposing what these organizations are, but just kind of lifting the veil a little bit to show the consumer that it's not all benevolent the way that they're depicting it. You know what I'm saying? And really, whatever is, right? There's no way that people went out there and believed like it was, oh wow, this is really simple and how cool, how easy to make money. Well, what we found out was it was a lot of sheep being led to the slaughter. You go in there with your $20, your $50, your $5, and you've got a guy that's sitting in London with a statistical software, and all he's doing is just crunching numbers, playing 10 or 20 different leagues, and just taking your money. But don't get me wrong, there are ways that you can. I know that there are people who are making some money on these websites. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's nowhere near as accessible and as easy as the commercials say that it is. And of course we know that it never is, right? That's just kind of a buyer beware kind of a thing. I tried it out 1 week. I didn't really like it. And the way they say, well, we'll give you, you can play for free. Well, that's, of course, you have to put some money up first, and then they'll give you a free play. So there's always, in around ways to get people to start spending money. And they put up so many advertising dollars. See, when I see something like that, that's when I first start questioning it. Like, man, there's too much advertising going on with this. They're trying to get themselves out here way too far, way too fast for me to be comfortable with putting like some real bread up. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just play fantasy football the traditional way, put some money up with that, and just enjoy fantasy football, to be honest with you. That way, I know what my return is going to be, and my level of involvement with fantasy football I'm already comfortable with because I've been doing it for years. Myself and family members of mine, we play in a fantasy football league. We're spread out across the nation. It's fun. It's something that we do. This one-day fantasy football stuff is not going to replace that whatsoever. Not at all. the camaraderie and the back and forth that we get from that you get from playing fantasy football with people that you know, or people that you are at least significantly involved with, that you're familiar with. Excuse me. It's not gonna. There's no way FanDuel is gonna be able to equate to that experience, and probably because of the fact it's too immediate. We hang out and talk via the internet and sometimes via phone, for weeks and weeks and weeks, throughout the year. It's more of a group effort. I think it's more fun that way. And then, at the end of the year, yeah, you do have a chance to win some money, if you're any good. And we happen to have some very skilled fantasy football players. So there's competition, there's camaraderie, there's money involved. It's great. It's way better experience than this FanDuel stuff. So that's my little take on that. If you've been on the fence about trying Football Kings and FanDuel, go ahead and give it a shot. Give them $5-10, but regular old fantasy football is just fine with me. Well, I took the back roads today, and I'm gonna tell you why I took the back roads. Because when I came down Saginaw Street yesterday just to take the streets in and not get on the E-way. And I'm telling you, I seen like 6 police cruisers, bro. I was like, man, damn, why? This Holly Road from Saginaw Street to I-75 is like the gauntlet. And I talk about this on this Periscope all the time. But it's true. It really is true. If you want to get somebody pulled over, tell them, give them directions that lead them down Holly Road between Saginaw Street and I-75. I don't care what direction. They could be going towards Saginaw or towards I-75. 9 times out of 10, man, you give them these directions, if they come down here 3 or 4 times in a week, they're going to get pulled over, man. They pull people over out here for nothing. And it's notorious too. And I hate it for a lot of our operators that are on this. We have a couple of buildings up and down this road here, and I hate it for those guys because I think there's quite a few of the operators that get pulled over out here, and it makes for a difficult time, makes for a difficult day, makes for a difficult week. Maybe some of them make it for a difficult rest of their lives or a good period of their lives, depending on where they are legally, But they sit. Well, the problem is it's off the expressway, but there's a gas station and a McDonald's right here. So of course, that's these guys are cruising around. They're doing their patrols, but of course they're going to settle here for a cup of coffee every now and then, or to meet up with other officers, and so yeah, it's going to be a lot of police traffic up and down a corridor like this. Not to mention the station is not too far. It's up Saginaw Street, so it's kind of a natural occurrence here. Well, anyway, that's the end of the broadcast today. I will see you guys a little bit later on today, or maybe tomorrow morning. You guys be safe. Peace.